Hello and welcome back to another episode of Field Notes Podcast. I'm your host, Eden, and today we're talking about how do you stay motivated when your manifestation isn't manifesting, when your creativity isn't creating, like when the vibes aren't vibing, when you're doing everything but you're not seeing any outer results. What do you do? Now, we're going to get into it because I feel like there is so much nuance to what is essentially the process of giving birth to a new version of yourself, because that is what a true creation, a true manifestation, in the truest sense of the word. I mean, manifesting something into material reality that was not there prior, that has an entirely new meaning. It has entirely new life to it. It's something that has not existed before, whether it's a version of yourself or it's something externally. There's so much nuance and so much life force that goes into that process. So I just want to get into some of the nitty-gritty today, especially as it pertains to like, how do you stay motivated when your creation isn't getting any traction in the world with other people? That creation could be a book launch, or it could be you. It could be you are going out and dating and trying to find the partner, but you're not getting any traction when it comes to the partner. Or it's just like relationship after relationship of person who isn't really it. And it just feels like, where's the traction? Where's the manifestation? Where is the creation taking form? It's not here. I don't see it. Maybe it's the fourth business you've started and it's business idea after business idea, and it's just not taking. It's just not clicking. Okay, starting off, why does this happen and when does this happen? I feel like this happens when you have a long distance. I know, it hurts. It hurts to hear the words, there's like a long distance to go between you and the thing that you were trying to bring into reality, or just the version of yourself that you are unconsciously manifesting. We'll get to that because that's what is at the root of every real manifestation. But I think that this phenomenon of like lack of motivation, nothing's happening, nothing is changing, nothing's getting traction, this happens when there is a lot of distance. It could be, and it is, psychological. Inner distance. It's inner distance between you and clicking into that. It's really your wholeness that already exists within you and feeling that. But that's manifesting externally as what feels like a lot of work to do, or a lot of time that needs to pass, or a lot of shit you need to get through in order to get there. And I'm not going to say that you can quantum leap, close that, cancel that. No, there's a divine timing. There is a intelligence to your body's timing of when you come into being in alignment with yourself. There is a unique roadmap. There are unique conflicts that you're going to face. There are unique traumas that you have. There are unique wounds that you carry. There is unique generational, familial, lineage stuff that is so specific to you that no one could tell you this is how long it's going to take. Or, yeah, all you need to do is step 1, 2, 3, and you're going to close this gap. It's so much bigger than that. It's so much bigger than you. You're also not in a vacuum. There's a context of your relationships, your friends, your family, your upbringing, your job, just what is possible and feasible for you within your given circumstances and your real AF life stuff that you are dealing with. So this isn't about a certain time frame, but this is about when we're feeling we're not getting traction. This might not apply. It could just be a fluke. There's so many possibilities. I'm not saying this is prescriptive, but when I've experienced this, it has been the case that I was going through so much growth, and rapid growth at that, or at the very least, there was a lot of growth that was being demanded of me. And this growth wasn't just essential to reaching the destination that I thought I wanted. The growth was actually also changing the end goal that I even perceived, if that makes sense. And so I know what I'm saying is sounding very circular, and that's important because what I'm saying is that as you go through the experience of not having traction with your creative output, it is actually the means through which you refine your values, aims, and who you are in the process of becoming the person that you need to become. AKA, it is a checkpoint. It is an opportunity for you to take more time and energy towards reflecting on, okay, I've been doing the blog posts consistently for 6 months, or I've been on the dating apps for 6 months and I've been doing 1 date a week for 6 months. Nothing is happening. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean what you're doing is wrong, but in that space, there are going to be things that arise that offer us insight into how we can clarify our direction, and we can actually clarify the manifestation or the end outcome that we are going for. Okay, as I get into this, it's going to make more sense. This is what I would do if I was in this position where my shit just was not sticking. Nothing was, I'm doing the things, but I'm not getting any traction. And again, this is so essential. This is so essential, which is why I'm going to emphasize it. If you are doing everything in your power to manifest your husband and nothing, it's crickets outside, there's nothing happening, it does not mean you are doing something wrong. It does not mean you have a block. It does not mean the universe is punishing you. It does not mean that all of the responsibility of why this is happening lies with you. There are very real circumstances that shape our lives. I feel like I've tried to emphasize this in this episode already, but I'm just hammering that because I think that this is so prevalent in the spiritual paradigm where we put too much responsibility on our power to manifest when there's a whole delicate interplay of you, God, again, your community, the actual context in which you live, your health, your, all these things. The person that you're trying to manifest just simply hasn't moved to your state yet. And so they're simply not here. And you might just have to wait for a year and you're perfectly ready. And it's just not happening. Or same thing with getting your book deal. Highly recommend listening to a recent episode I did on what to do when you feel like your thing just still hasn't shown up yet and you're waiting and it's not happened in the timeline that you want it to happen. I can't remember what the title was, but we're going to link it to that episode. Listen to that. That goes hand in hand with this and you need to listen to that. It is fundamental education. Okay. So all that being said, so you're posting weekly on your Substack, nothing is happening. Step 1, revisit your why. Let's use this as an opportunity to revisit where this is coming from. This is not to gaslight yourself. This is to take a moment to check in, especially everything I'm saying applies like you've been doing it for at least 6 months. Okay, 6 months is arbitrary, but you get what I'm saying. You've been doing it for a good amount of time. You've put in the legwork. Okay, you know when you've put it in. You're like, I'm giving this a good old college try. Revisit your why. Why did you start doing this? Does that still apply? Sometimes, again, we have this distance and we're doing all this personal growth and we have to revisit the original reason because it's possible that reason needs to be tweaked, or like you've uncovered something about yourself, or you have had a healing of a wound from your inner child that totally changes the shape of what it is you're doing and what it is that you're looking at, or it's going to change your perspective on it. So revisit the why. Like, what was the original intention? Is that still the intention? It's totally possible that it is. It's possible it has changed a little bit, and it's possible it's no longer that at all. Okay, next up, cross-check your core values. If you're familiar with TBM, your authentic code is another doorway into this. And again, just like with our why, don't just cross-check it and be like, oh, well, I did write down 6 months ago that these are my core values. Take a moment to be with it and be like, okay, but when was the last time I really considered what these core values mean to me and how I actually envision living them? Because I may have been telling myself this is my core value for the last 8 years when I took the college indicator test that told me that these are my top 5 core values. But when was the last time I took that to a deeper level and said, okay, my personal value is interconnectedness. That was one of my personal values when I took the college test. And the top personal value was interconnectedness. I don't even know what that means, but let's say it is interconnectedness. Okay, what does that really mean to live out? Does it mean I just think about the interconnectedness between all things? Or does it mean, no, this actually means I really live in acknowledging the reality that all things have an impact on one another, environmentally, relationally? What are the areas in my life that are totally incongruent with that? Or where I could take that deeper or even assess, is that still a value that is important to me? Or has it become something else? And then based on that assessment, do I need to change how I'm showing up in my pursuit to find a husband? Maybe you do, it could be so small. It could be a change in your energy that is just the result of a process that you're going through. But how is it tweaking things? Okay. I know I said it doesn't mean you have a block, but it could mean you have a block. Uncover any blocks. And what I mean by this, okay, I don't mean very specifically, what I do not mean is that something you're doing is blocking the universe from giving you its love in the form of a reward, such as your manifestation or your husband or $10,000. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that you may still have wounds that are shaping how you are experiencing this endeavor that you may not realize is shaping it. So maybe in the 6 months of going in the dating on the dates, you realize that you are voluntarily, from your unconscious, you are voluntarily having the thought of like, I wonder if it's because no one will ever choose me. Sis, if that's your narrative, or like with the book deal, it's like, you're like, it must be because no one likes me. Girl, no. That's called a wound, okay? That's called a wound. And that is important that we address, not because that is causally blocking something from happening materially, but because it is profoundly shaping how you are interacting with this process. It is shaping the energy that you're putting out. It is shaping the pheromones that you are putting out, and it is causing you to see through the lens of this wound. Like in the dating example, like what this is causing you to do is go into every encounter with the men and be like, he's either going to open the door for me or he's not, because he either chooses me or he doesn't, or he's going to either pay or he's not, because he either chooses me or he doesn't. He's either going to call me or he's not. Everything you're thinking about is being framed from this wound, which is completely not reality. Okay, I'm saying you're seeing the situation through wounded eyes. You're seeing it through the wounded eyes of your inner child, and you are seeing these people only through what they can give to the unhealed inner child part of you, not through the lens of, is this a partnership that makes sense? Do I even like them? How does this even feel to my adult self? You don't even have access to that because you're seeing it all through this wounded lens. And as long as you're seeing it through that wounded lens, you're going to manifest, if you want to think of it like that, you're going to manifest either evidence of or evidence that it's not happening. And then like once you fulfill the feedback loop of, oh, he finally did choose me, and you still haven't filled the wound, then in the relationship, you're just going to keep manifesting other things that they're doing to not choose you or whatever it is. So you got to alchemize that shit. Okay. See below resources of this entire podcast on how to do that. Because again, when you do that, it's like this again, it's like a kaleidoscope. When you heal the wound, you fix this, it's like a perceptual distortion, and the kaleidoscope, you know, those security tests they make you do on the internet where it's like, drag the bar until the picture aligns. It's like when you are able to heal whatever wounded part of you might be putting a little too much of their perspective on the situation, it's like you're dragging that bar one step forward, which is going to give you a clearer view of the situation. It also might give you a clearer view of like, oh, every time I am going on the dates, I'm suggesting, maybe you're like suggesting an environment for your date where you don't feel as confident as you could, or you're like unconsciously dressing in a way to try and please these people based on who you think you need to show up as on the dating apps. And do you see how that is already putting energy towards the direction of they're not going to choose me, and how that would lead you astray from finding the person who's actually right for you. But it's like, to find that person, you have to be right with yourself. And you also have to accept, like, I am me, you know, I'm not this person who dresses like this. Whoever, like, this persona you're thinking you have to be, like, the truth is I'm not that. So why am I going to portray myself as that to try and get chosen? That might mean like the person you end up with they're not what you think they're going to be. You know, we're getting really mad in the weeds right now, but let's end it there. Let's keep going. Okay, final recommendation. It's kind of like a little fast track to all of these steps, and it's not really, it's just a way that you can do all these steps at one time, which is to have a one-on-one with God, universe, your higher power, your unconscious, whatever that force is for you. Have a literal conversation on a walk, in your head or out loud or writing it out, where you essentially check in and be like, I'm doing all these things. You know, this is what I'm trying for. And this is what I've been trying. This is what I've been doing. This is important. Express, like, I'm doing this because what again, we're revisiting that why. I'm doing this because, you know, I set out because I really want to this. I really want whatever it is. Explore that deeper. You really get beneath the why, where it's the same thing. We're just doing this in a more direct, one-to-one way with the universe of just having an open dialogue of like, this is where I'm at. This is what I feel. This is what I'm wanting. And take the time to unearth new layers of that as you're doing that. And also express, like, help guide me. Like, is it something in the way that I'm showing up? Like, is there something I need to understand more? What this is about opening. This is about opening. It's not about trying to control. It's about trying to give up the control over the process to open to what you genuinely need to explore in your life as a person, not so that you can get the $10,000 book deal. I don't know how much book deals are. Are they a lot more than that? Probably. It's not so you can get that. It's saying, you know, I'm after this because this is this authentic desire that I have had. And this is something I really thought that I want. And, or maybe as you're doing this process, you're like, this is really what I want. And so if, you know, there's something about the way that I'm moving or the way that I'm seeing it, can you help me to understand it? What growth I need to go through for myself to become more of that person. And as you do this exploration, you will get so much closer to the real meaning and the real purpose of this. Because like we said at the beginning, when we're working in this way that I like to think of is almost like the creative process as a spiritual process and as a process of becoming more whole. And when that is our ultimate aim, and we can open to what God, life, your body, the intelligence that lives within you, what it has for you, and you can prioritize that over the external and say, I'm so invested in the becoming more whole as the end result that I'm willing to let go of what I thought the end goal was going to look like, because it's more important to me that I follow this step that is arising from my tissues and from my unconscious and from my brain and my body of, I know that you want to meet the love of your life. And what's really important is that you learn to love this part of you that feels very wounded or rejected or abandoned when the people in your life don't show up for you the way that you want them to. Or you can just forget about the manifestation and the end goal and just focus on getting more in tune with yourself and God. It's kind of the fast track. Because like I said, if you are really in that process of doing that inner, it's going to change everything. It's going to change everything you thought about what it is that you're trying to like do, you know? Okay. That's all for now. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Make sure to leave your comments, your questions, topic suggestions. You can ask personal questions about something you're manifesting, creating, experiencing, and I'll answer it. Anything you want. Okay. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you in the next one.